listening to the Scoop Slam Podcast.
Hello, everybody, and welcome back to the Scoop Slam Podcast, where we talk about the past month that we've missed because it's been since March since we've recorded an episode. We're going to talk about everything, including the final boss laying the smackdown in every single town, Drew McIntyre being one of the best promos in the business, and CM Punk having more of a stranglehold on AEW fans than The Weeknd does on WrestleMania theme songs. In the co-pilot seat, as always, the historian of the Scoop Slam Podcast. If I'm the tribal chief, he's the final boss. It's Ryan.
Wow, man, you laid out the table thick right there. I don't know how I'm gonna be able to top that. It's good to be back, Micah. It's great to be back. Finally here to talk about wrestling. And it's been too long. It's been way too long. But as you know, we were not fans of the way Sting got treated on the way out, so we had to take a month off.
Some of us.
It's good to be back, though.
It is good to be back. I feel like, I had to give us a good starting point, since we're back, like Mark Henry. You got a lot left in the tank.
Oh, yeah. We here. Back.
And it's the biggest weekend in wrestling. It's Christmas week, basically, for all wrestling fans. And so we're going to recap all that we've missed because it was a huge month, especially talking about the Bloodline, Rock, Cody Rhodes stuff. So we will get to that. The CM Punk interview with Ariel Helwani dropped this past week, and
wow,
it was a bombshell. So there's a lot to get to there. And we had probably the greatest Raw episode in the last 10 years, not this past week, but the week before last. We got predictions to get to, a whole slew of things. We're going to try and,
keep it tight. We're going to keep it tight, man. Yeah, we'll keep it tight. Hour and a half, maybe.
Yeah, hopefully. We're trying to make this more digestible, and we're trying to really find our rhythm, find what the fan base wants. First, I do want to apologize to the loyal supporters of the Scoop Slam Podcast. We're just really trying to figure out how to get this under control. There is so much wrestling out there that, as two guys who have full-time jobs, have families, starting families, have other interests, hobbies, it's a lot to really get under control. So we're figuring this thing out. We're going to try and make it more of a talking point headline analysis show, more than a review show. Yeah. And I guess a sports-based approach, not the way Tony Khan means that, but...
Oh, okay. We may bust out the Scoop Slam concept for big shows. Shows.
Such as WrestleMania this weekend, WrestleMania XL, WrestleMania 40 in Philly.
Yeah.
It is probably the most excited I've been for WrestleMania in a really long time. Like, I wasn't sure if I'd be able to have people over. We're going to end up getting together. But in the days before this, I was like, man, I got to get everybody together. I was like, this is such like a monumental WrestleMania. I feel like if we didn't get all together and watch it, we would miss something. You know what I mean?
Yeah, and the fact that they turned around this whole card with all the stuff that happened, all the real life stuff with the CM Punk injury and the Charlotte Flair injury and a bunch of other injuries, Micah. The fact that they could, Seth Rollins getting injured.
Yeah, right and even the Vince stuff.
Yeah, so even with all that, they managed to put together a pretty good card. And I'm excited to see what they do and how they do it. And the predictions, I'm very interested in hearing what you think the outcomes of these matches are going to be.
I don't know. I'm going to fantasy book a little bit, see what you think, see what you're feeling. But we do have some fantasy booking to get to. But first, let me introduce our sponsor. One of the big key points that you guys have really shown recently before we left was that you guys really love Dead Threads. And so we're going to talk about that. We're going to keep these guys on the show because you guys have went and used our code, and we really appreciate that, and we're sure that you're happy with your product. So first off, before we get to all the good stuff, let's go ahead and get the sponsor And the sponsor spot is the Dead Threads Brain Dead Take of the Week. This is where we showcase the foul, disgusting, just absolutely appalling takes that we find on the internet every week, because now everybody's got a phone, everybody's got a computer. And as Punk said, everybody with a Twitter thinks they're a journalist. So we're here to put some of those people on blast. Not really harmful, but it's just funny to kind of see what goes through some people's mind that are in this internet wrestling community. But before we do that, make sure go get you some Dead Threads. There's a lot of sports events outside of wrestling happening right now. The NBA playoffs is coming up. The NCAA tournament is wrapping up March Madness. By the way, huge congratulations to the Alabama Crimson Tide for making it to the Final Four. We are a basketball school now.
Oh, yeah. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. We are. The first team since 2015 to make the Final Four in college football and college basketball.
So, I mean, hey, the stats are there. Auburn always wants to their basketball school, but y'all got beat by a bunch of lawyers and accountants. So,
hey, bro. Hey, bro, I was ready to enter in the transfer portal when Saban left, but I'm back in. I recommitted. I know you people I know that was weighing heavy on all of our listeners' mind, but I have recommitted to Alabama Crimson Tide.
Okay, like Caleb Williams, but not Caleb Williams.
You talking about Caden Proctor?
Yeah, Caden Proctor.
Yeah, I'm back.
Anyways, but a lot of sporting events coming up. Since you're locked in on Alabama, go get you a new Alabama t-shirt from Dead Threads. WrestleMania in Philly, you can go get you some Eagles merch. You can get you some 76ers merch. NBA, NCAA, NHL, NFL, anything like that, they have it. There's great designs. It's a small company, but all their products are very well made. And if you're a sports fan, the best thing you can do for yourself is go get some Dead Threads. And the link in the description of this episode, I'm fumbling on my words because we're trying to get back in the saddle. The top link on our link tree, you can go get you some, as well as when you go to checkout, it's /ScoopSlammed, and that will get you percentages off of your order. I believe it's 10 and 15% if you use the link and use our code. So make sure to go get that. But the Dead Threads Brain Dead Take of the Week, I leave it to you, Ryan.
I'm going to throw it back to you, Micah, because I kind of have one for myself. But I do want you to, because you sent me this the other day. And I think our listeners need to hear what you sent me, because I got a big laugh when you sent me that comment.
Well, let me ask you which comment you're speaking about.
Oh, about one Adam Page.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, sir.
Well,
come on now.
I was on the internet, and obviously the AEW faithful, after the CM Punk, what's the word I'm looking for? Masterclass of an interview with one Ariel Helwani, who I think is a great journalist, does great work on MMA Hour. Make sure you go check that interview out. If you haven't seen it, it's great stuff.
That whole episode, because they had Rhea and Becky do like a little angle afterwards.
It was kind of fake, but Punk stuff's always good.
Come on now. Be nice.
Call a spade here on the Scoop Slam podcast.
Okay, go ahead. I'm sorry. I just ruined your tape, Mike. I stepped all over your tape, man.
No. This person ruined my train of thought whenever I saw this. Anyways, somebody on one of the AEW Reddit pages, they came out in droves to do a Hangman Adam Page, what's the word I'm looking for? Not tribute, but more of an appreciation post. And this was one of the comments that I found. I don't have the commenter, but I feel like regardless, it deserves some spotlight. They wrote, one of the greatest stories told across fiction of all mediums is Hangman's rise to becoming world champion in AEW, in my opinion. It was just perfectly placed, and Hangman's rise to champ was so organic. Good times. Crazy to think that AEW will be 5 years old in 6 months. Pretty short, But to say that Hangman's Rise was one of the greatest stories in any medium. Have you read a book, sir? Have you watched TV shows? I love wrestling. I mean, we have a podcast, but
yeah,
to say that story, I wouldn't even say that like the Bloodline story or the NWO is one of the greatest stories of all, like of ever. Like Game of Thrones, Lord of the Rings, Marvel Comics,
Breaking Bad,
Sopranos,
Death Note,
Attack on Titan, even. Like, there are so many better there's one TV show that I'm thinking of in particular that I can't think of, but like, this is what you think is better than that?
Absolutely.
And remember, Hangman wasn't even on TV for like 4 months because he had a kid.
But Micah, it was so inspirational. He stopped drinking. Did you not see that? Stopped drinking. He got his act together. He beat his longtime best friend. Everybody's friends. You didn't like that.
The only storyline they can make. Everybody's friends.
I thought you liked that at the time. Come on now. Be nice.
I will admit that I thought it was the right call to put the belt on him then. But
I guess. Was it?
Well, I mean, looking back on it, like people have this weird revisionist history that like they shouldn't have taken the belt off Hangman and that Punk forced his way into the main event. His reign sucked pond water. He had a feud with Lance Archer before he got to Punk.
Bro hardly showed up too. After he wins the title, he takes time off. Like that's what guys like Ric Flair did when they got married or had a kid. They took time off when they were the world champion, right?
I mean, I get it. If you have a kid, they work, 1 day a week. If you miss 1 or 2 weeks,
take them with you. Take them on the flight.
I don't think you can do that, Ryan.
Tony does pay for all these guys to travel out there. You tell me he couldn't book 2 more. He need to book 2 more tickets. Just book 1 ticket and, have the baby next. I don't know, man. That's a weird time. And if we didn't have Hangman Page win the title, maybe CM Punk is still in AEW. Who knows?
That is true, which we'll get to that a little bit later, but
we'll talk about it.
To say, I mean, and I know people love that story and they say it's the best story AEW has produced. I personally disagree. I think the CM Punk MJF stuff is the best thing they've ever done. AEW isn't rooted on stories. So I will commend them for this being a story that they did and it was well made or well put together, but in all mediums, like
everything, all medium. Does bro only watch nothing but Marvel movies and watch indie wrestling? That has to be what he watches all the time. Has to be.
Well, that sounds like the typical lonely internet wrestling fan. So
we call that the basement dwellers, Mike.
You said it, not me, but I'm not disagreeing.
Dead thread, brain dead, cold take of the week, and I got one, Mike. I got somebody from because I hover in Reddit. I pay attention to that type of stuff. I'm a lurker in Reddit. I don't ever post anything, but I did come across something in the Reddit squared circle page. Easy for me to say.
The squirrel circle.
Yeah, that too, and that it was a post. No, it was a comment under the post for when Rock was beating Cody with the belt. This guy, what's his name? Token _Reddit. Yeah, that guy. Big fan of his work. He writes, the only thing that would make me lose my explicitive is if after a way overbooked match where Cody loses with bodies all over the place, the final boss. Yeah.
Sounds like a Diddy party.
Oh man, no Diddy. the final boss out from some wild crossroads, I don't know what he meant by that, is an all covered up masked man comes in, kicks Cody Rhodes in the balls, then does a sledgehammer to the skull. Whoa, pause on that. To put Roman's arm over him for the win. He's using a lot of pronouns here. Then garbage flying all over the ring, and when he unmasked, it's MJF. Philly would eat that explicitive up. So I guess he wants MJF to debut by kicking Cody Rhodes in the balls and putting Roman Reigns' lifeless body on top of Cody for the pinfall at WrestleMania, Micah. That's where he's booking here.
That would, I mean, while I agree that MJF should sign.
You think they should just throw away the whole 3-year-long Cody Rhodes storyline for this, though?
Yeah, exactly. Like, if he's not going to help Cody win, then what's the point? Because now we're going to extend this Roman thing again. And it's not like MJF comes in and is a challenger to a world champion, Cody Rhodes. It's like Cody has to go through the gauntlet again and face MJF. Also, this dude needs to take grammar class, but that's
that was really bad. Yeah. But yeah, MJF debuts in Philly and apparently hits Cody Rhodes with a sledgehammer. Now that, I'd be in favor of Cody Rhodes getting hit with a sledgehammer at WrestleMania, but I don't know if MJF should be doing that.
Yeah, that doesn't sound like anything that pertains to his character, but
at all. No, it's very out of nowhere, but this guy seems to think he has all the answers. Now, Triple H showed up and hit Cody with the sledgehammer. I would be on board with that.
Dude, people want this to be like a heavy run-in match. Like, I've seen multiple comments that are like, I want this to be an overbooked mess where, like, Stone Cold runs out and Cena runs out, and I'm like, I mean, it could work.
I think you gotta.
Really?
I really do, especially if Cody. Well, we'll get to this later on. We'll get to that later on. We're jumping the gun here. We're jumping the gun, Micah.
Well, speaking of MJF, let's go ahead and talk about some AEW news, kind of. As we mentioned earlier, CM Punk was on MMA Hour earlier this week with Ariel Helwani, and he talked about a lot of stuff. He talked about getting back into the WWE sphere, as well as his time in AEW, what events he could talk about, what events he couldn't talk about, his relationship with Tony Khan, all that good stuff. It is a must listen to, must watch, whatever platform you choose to view it on is up to you. Interview. Like I said, great knowledge and stuff in that interview. But as I said, we're not really a review show. We're just going to talk about some talking points and analysis. So I have some quotes here, just some, like I said, points I wanted to specifically hint on. And what I'm getting most of my references from is a website called lastwordonsports.com. They kind of summarized this and added in some other stuff. It's a really good job. They do good work. Please go check them out. So I want to give them credit. But one of the things that they wrote said that Punk post-Brawlout had no communication from AEW for 6 months. When his left tricep, especially, which we're fixing to get into it. When his left tricep was injured in AEW, he had to pay for the surgery. He had to find a rehab center and do everything for himself. WWE, however, covered everything. Set up the appointments, set up the rehab, all that good stuff. The difference for Punk that made a big difference, or the difference to Punk, I should say, between the two companies is structure, protocols, and professionalism.
I think the thing that most stood out to me was I thought AEW was the company that was giving out health insurance. Are they not doing that for the top star at least? Or at least for the EVPs? Punk did say he had a second contract, so you would think he was an executive of some sort. Are they not? You telling me they're BS artists over here in AEW, Micah? Did they sell us a bill of lies?
Well, maybe I don't know. Maybe they have insurance, but like,
You had to pay for it. They didn't even contact them. What's up with? So
Yeah.
who's running? Who's running HR? You're not talking to your top guy while he's out injured?
well, that's okay. So that's something that I think some people took out of context, and it doesn't necessarily pertain to this situation, but people were talking about Punk like wanting to talk to lawyers and stuff, and they were like, wow, he's such a crybaby. He's going to talk to lawyers, yet he talks about wanting to settle his own issues. He didn't. There was one specific part of this interview. I can't remember what he said, but he didn't say lawyers. He said the lawyer, which I'm pretty sure he's talking about Mega in that instance, which again, why would he want to go talk to her when she was one of the ones that came in the room with the Bucks?
That's probably the reason why nobody contacted him.
Exactly.
Yeah.
But that's my thing. Like, people thought, okay, so the big grand scheme here is Punk went to AEW and he's all about workers' rights and he didn't practice what he preached. And then he goes back to WWE, the one he complained about or whatever. Has anyone here ever went to a job that on paper sounded great, and then you get there and it sucks, and then you appreciate the job you had before because you realize this job might have been bad, but it could be that other job?
It's like when you get a new boss, you've been in a job a long time, and you're like, dang, man, this guy sucks. And then you get the new boss, and he's taking away stuff, and he's saying, hey, you can't be on your phone. Hey, you need to be cleaning this. You know what I'm talking about, Micah? You ever had...
Oh, we both experienced it with one person. I won't name names, but...
They suck. They stink.
So, I mean, that's the thing to me is on paper, this place sounded great. And my main takeaway from this interview, and then I'll kind of let you, touch on what you had, because I think you had some quotes as well.
Mm-hmm.
Punk in AEW just... it wasn't meant to last. I'm just being honest. The best case scenario is Punk in WWE because it's just not the kind of place that he wants to be in. It is a new company. They don't necessarily have the protocols in place. And everybody's like 2005, 2006 CM Punk would have loved to be in AEW. Yeah, that's probably true.
I don't know. Would he? Because they're not in the business of putting on coherent storylines and making money. I don't know if he would have a great time working for AEW in that particular time. 05 Punk. I don't think so. I don't know.
I think it would have been better because Punk didn't have Punk in that time didn't have the experience he had in the early 2010s WWE that eventually made him walk away from the business. And the key point to that, and he said it in this interview, WWE is vastly different than they were when he was here before. And that is the difference between AEW and WWE. Punk is a guy, he's a little bit older, he's a little bit wiser, he's been around the block. He wants a place with some structure, with some professionalism. And I'm not saying that AEW has no structure. I'm not saying they don't have professionalism. But if something needs to be handled in WWE, it gets handled. In AEW, he told it in the interview right there. There's not as much professionalism. And Tony Khan is a nice guy, but he's not a boss.
He's not. He's not. And the whole AEW structure is... how long is it going to last, Micah? What if Tony Khan's dad decides to pull out and not and to not fund Tony Khan's little vanity project anymore? I mean, they're not in the business of making money, it looks like.
Yeah, that's what he said.
The thing that I got was, did he tell any lies? Was he saying something that we didn't know? I mean, we all know what this is. The whole point of AEW isn't to make money. It's just to put on 5-star bangers. That's the whole point of the company. And they have 25%. They filling up these NBA arenas 25%. So I mean, what are we doing here? Are we not in the business of making money? That's what the professional wrestling business is all about, Micah. Not putting on 5-star bangers for 60-year-old writers while he's while he's starting rumors about you, man. I don't understand the whole concept.
That's what I think is warped. And a lot of people online say, like, why do I care about the money they're making? And that's fine. If that's not a deal to you, then that's fine. Does that affect my TV viewing experience? Absolutely not. Honestly, when the viewer count comes up, is that something that changes my thought on the episode? Not at all. But you do have to pay attention to the business aspect of things. And to me, WWE puts on better stories, more coherent stories, and that right now is driving the force. WWE feels fresh. AEW really, they felt like WWE Light last year, and now they feel like they're starting to turn some stuff, but it's just hard to look across the street at a Walmart Supercenter and look at, golly, look at the business they're doing, and then look across the street and there's mom and pop's, general store. I'm not saying that that's what AEW is destined to be. I'm just saying when you look at the two and compare, there's a vast difference. One of those is more structured on selling tickets, making stories, buying into characters. The other one is for the audience that loves matches, loves the athletic spectacle. Pick your poison, whichever you like, but on paper, the one that the people gravitate to more is a story, because you can buy into a Cody Rhodes like you can buy into a Captain America, or somebody who constantly a Spider-Man who constantly, everything seems to be going right, but he can never get he can never have a perfect just peace in life.
But Micah, see, the thing about that though, the general store may be open, but they're serving bad product. And the bad product, if you say it's bad product, you get chastised and criticized and say you hate that general. You hate all retail stores if you don't like this one, because this is what real retail stores are like. You know what I'm talking about, man? It's just if you criticize AEW, you hate wrestling. It's like they have to defend AEW's honor if you say that you don't want to see 45-minute long matches with Billy Gunn and Jay White in the second match on the card.
Well, and the funniest thing about that to me is they defend it, like crazy, and that's fine. If that's the product you like, sure. But how does the saying go? A hit dog yells. They then go out and do this thank you AEW thing the wrestlers do. And then Edge has to cart out there and go on TV and enter the show, open the show with that.
Hey, Adam Copeland.
Sorry, trademark.
Yeah.
You open the show with that, and then you put a horrible Dynamite on, like one of the lowest rated Dynamites on Cage Match ever.
And it showed it with the ratings too.
Yeah, because who would stay? Who is going to stay to watch a 60-year-old Billy Gunn kill Jay White?
He is jacked, though. I will give him that. He's in good shape.
Sure. But how much more you got going for him? I like the guy, don't get me wrong.
Adam Copeland was the last guy you should have sent out there, too. Like, you send out the WWE lifer to tell you that AEW's great. How did that make any sense?
Somebody on Twitter was like, how is he a WWE lifer? He's literally not in their company anymore. He ain't even been there for a year, and he was in WWE for like 20 years. Come on.
The 11-time WWE champion, the Hall of Famer. He's only been AEW 6 months. but he's the right guy to send out there to tell you that everything's great and they have the greatest wrestlers and the greatest roster and he's having the most fun out of it. You tell me he's having the most fun out of his 30-year career in AEW so far?
I guess. I mean, personally, I would think, the Rated R Superstar run or...
Well, you know what? I'm not surprised because he's only feuded with Christian. He hasn't put anybody over. And he's getting a multi-million-dollar paycheck from Tony Khan for working once a week. So you know what? Maybe this is the best time.
I thought he got Griff Garrison over when they had that match on Collision.
Oh yeah, he's a young Adam Copeland, is what he told us.
But anyways, continuing more on the Punk interview, another thing he talked about was obviously the All In incident, which ended up causing his release from the company. And basically it all just kind of goes back to this point that somebody had an issue, they brought it to Punk's attention, they have a confrontation, and Punk says, hey, please do something about it. To Tony, to anybody who would listen, to the lawyers, but mainly to Tony. And nothing happens. Even, and speaking about the Jungle Boy All In incident, they had a rental car. Jungle Boy wanted to break the glass out of it. Punk thought it was stupid. He told him no. And from lastwordonsports.com, they wrote, back to All In, Punk says he told Tony Khan to handle it. Punk claims Tony said, what do you want me to do?
Oh, my.
I shouldn't have to tell you what to do. I should go to my manager at work and the manager will handle it. That's not my responsibility. That's the responsibility you take on being a boss, being HR, being whatever you want to be. That's not my job. Because like he said, if you let me handle it, you're not going to like the way that it gets handled.
Yeah.
And that's irresponsible on Punk's part. Do not get me wrong. It is not responsible or level-headed to choke somebody out.
Well, we don't. Okay, Micah, I'll preference this by saying I was a big Phil Brooks hater throughout that last 10 year in AEW. Yes, but part of being a grown-up, Micah, is when new information comes out, you're allowed to change your views and your opinions. And if Punk had if he had a second contract, which is what I think he did say that he had 2 contracts from Tony Khan. He did. So if he has an office contract, I mean, was he in the wrong for telling Jungle Jack that we don't do that on Saturdays, or locking him in a front face lock at Wembley? We don't know if Jungle Jack got up in his face or gave him, it's a little chest shove. Maybe he had to front face lock him. Maybe he did do the responsible thing. I don't know.
If this is believed to be true, what he said is when Jack came back through the curtain after saying, obviously, real glass, go cry me a river, he questioned him and said, why do you have to do this dumb internet explicitive? Jack then replied, do something about it.
Oh, man.
Punk's response on the podcast was, I thought I was doing the responsible thing, and I just choked someone a little bit. That is not the responsible thing to do, but that's the story of this entire AEW run. Is it could have been nipped in the bud, and they let it continue. And one of the biggest points about this whole thing, or the biggest shocker to me, because this was kind of all information that we knew, was that he didn't want to come back after Brawl Out. He didn't want Collision to be a thing, and Tony basically forced it to happen.
Yeah, the whole separate show thing was destined to fail from the beginning. He wanted to get let go and told him multiple times, but Tony wanted to make it work and wanted to be everybody's friend. And this is the call. This is the ramifications of it. Now we have CM Punk in WWE again.
Which again, I'm not complaining. I mean, I thought that, and even he said in this interview, the positives outweigh the negatives. And there was a lot of stuff that happened that Punk did in AEW that I thought was great. The MJF rivalry is probably top 3 of my Punk rivalries ever. I enjoyed it that much.
He spoke highly of that too.
Yeah. Well, I mean, how could you not?
Yeah.
There was stuff he got to do there that he wouldn't get to do at WWE, and he's not going to, such as the dog collar match.
Yeah.
But at the end of the day, if the guy's not happy, there's no reason to keep him there. And if he asks to be released, then just let him go. And that was something I didn't know either, was that he said after the whole Jack Perry thing, he was just like, just fire me. I don't want to be here anymore.
Yeah. And apparently he was not going to go out there at Wembley. CM Punk wasn't. But Samoa Joe is the one that went up to him being CM Punk, and said, you know what, let's just kill it. Let's just go out there and have a great match.
Yeah. And I need to rewatch it now too, because I want to see if I want to see if you can pick up the cues of like, this is a guy who's like, yeah, this is my last match here.
When he threw up the ones on the way out, you could, maybe it's just me with hindsight, but you could tell that, hey, this is it right here.
Yeah. And throwing the belt on his back. So like, that's the last thing you see is him walking out with the belt.
It is. I mean, it's iconic now looking back at it.
Yeah.
But you know what? It would solve all this, Micah, if AEW released the footage of what happened at Wembley, because I'm sure there were cameras all over the place. And
they have it.
Oh yeah, most definitely they do. But why does CM Punk sign an NDA for what happened at Brawl Out, but not what happened with Jungle Jack?
I'm assuming maybe because he did end up coming back, whereas now like they fired him, so like they didn't have to get him to sign one. You know what I mean? Like he wasn't forced, but like before it was like, well, if you're gonna come back, you're probably gonna want to sign this NDA. So that's just me thinking. I truly don't know.
We're speculating here. We're not journalists, even though, I mean, we have as much credentials in the industry as any other Meltzer or Brian Alvarez, but that's beside the point, Micah. Point is, my biggest thing that I found out was the Adam Page promo about workers' rights. I found out some stuff that I don't think we all knew at the time. Do you remember hearing that on the podcast? Where CM Punk was saying that Adam Page and him discussed beforehand what they were going to say. And he went out there and CM Punk could not hear him in the arena because it was so loud. And Page just completely went into business for himself.
I mean, yeah, we didn't know they rehearsed it, which is, again, that even lends more to, remember the article was coming out that like Punk didn't trust him in the ring.
I mean, how could you not? That's a double cross. That's on live television.
Yeah. And also people were like, the crowd was not loud during that segment. It was quiet. You can watch the video back. What people don't understand is wrestlers don't hear what's going through the arena at the same like way that we hear it on TV. There's an echo. There's a delay. So
definitely. You remember when we went to those AEW shows and I could not, I don't know about you, but I could not understand when they got on the microphone and was saying stuff. I could not hear what they were saying.
Yeah. And that's not even just an AEW thing. That's a WWE thing. That's the way that like arenas are set up because the speakers are so loud because it's coming from your microphone. So people are like, oh, well, no, he's lying. Like, I mean, he could be. I don't know. But I'm just saying that is believable. And one of the biggest things you don't do in wrestling is double cross somebody, because now you've lost all your respect or all your trust with that person.
Yeah. And it wasn't even like it was a good line that he used. Everybody was just confused what he was saying.
Yeah.
I don't were we reviewing shows at the time?
I don't believe so. No, we started the summer after that because that was 2022.
Well, I think we were still talking AEW back and forth. And I remember being confused about the line. It wasn't like it was a clever line like Punk used against Drew last Monday. The whole, what was his name comment? That was actually clever. And I doubt that they discussed that beforehand, but that was actually good.
Yeah. And it didn't like bury Drew. I mean, I guess kind of, but
no. That felt natural in the moment.
Yeah. The Chosen One gimmick is like 10 years ago at this point. He's way past that.
Yeah. Yeah, I agree.
So, yeah, I mean, I see what you're saying. It didn't, I remember us talking about it too. It didn't make sense at the time. And even him kind of saying, like, I'm trying to protect AEW from you. I remember that being like well, what's that supposed to mean? Isn't he all locked in on AEW?
Apparently not behind the scenes, because Colt Cabana getting banished to ROH was just too much for any of Hangman Adam Page's friends to handle, that they had to double cross their biggest star and biggest draw they've ever had in their company.
Yeah. Which, I mean, how many times has Colt Cabana been on TV since Punk left again? Oh,
man,
I think it's zero.
If it's been at least 3 times, I must have missed that.
No, the only time I can remember is when him and Jericho had that spite match, and it was awful. And that was after Brawl Out. So,
well, Jericho has a lot of those type of matches now.
Hey, you got me there. But all in all, obviously go watch this interview. It was great. If you have anything else, go ahead. But I was gonna kind of move on to the next thing. I mean,
nah. We can move on. It was a great interview. Whole MMA Hour. Give it a watch. And there's some good documentaries this week too that I don't know if you watch, Micah, but highly recommend the Bray Wyatt one. The Roman one was a little weird, but it was still good.
Yeah. But I finished the Roman one. I didn't finish the Bray one yet.
Oh my God, man. The last 30 minutes. Yeah, man. It's emotional.
Yeah, I was in like the first 30 or 45, but all in all, I mean, just to kind of wrap the CM Punk and AEW thing up, because I genuinely hope this is the last that we have to talk about it, because it's such a
won't.
Dead.
We'll talk about it again. You know we're gonna talk about it again. It's like the Montreal screw job. We're destined to talk about it forever.
I'm sure, but I mean, it just from the jump, this wasn't going to work. That's my conclusion. I think Punk in WWE at this stage of his life, I think he went to see if the grass was greener, and it was not to him personally. It may be to somebody else. But with the whole Colt Cabana thing already being there and that divisiveness, Punk in AEW was not going to be a long-term thing. And, I mean, yeah, that's just all I can say at this point. He was at fault. The Elite was at fault. Most at fault is Tony Khan, because he didn't fix the problems that were brought up to him constantly. And Punk might have not handled it in the most responsible way, but, you know, here we are. I mean, honestly, I think the way things have shaken out now, it's probably for the best for both parties.
Yeah, they're both in better places now. AEW's having 5-star bangers every week like they want. And CM Punk is making boatloads of money in a real wrestling company. So, you know, both sides got what they want, Micah.
And he doesn't even have to be on TV. He just sells all that merch.
Oh, bro, he's selling a lot of shirts.
Dude, how much money do you think he was making AEW for merch?
in AEW?
Yeah.
Like
that had to suck when they quit getting that check.
But you talking about how much AEW is making or how much CM Punk was making?
How much AEW was making?
Oh, well, bro, they sell 3 shirts at the venue, so maybe if they added some variety to the merch stand, they would sell some more t-shirts.
Well, I guess you got me there.
It's like 3 shirts there. What are they doing? I think I saw a picture the other day of the AEW show in Canada that they just did.
Yeah, I think I sent it to you.
I kid you not, Micah. They had 3 shirts, and one of them was a Sting shirt. Like, bro, Sting doesn't even work there no more. What are we doing?
And they sell like AEW shirts. Like it's like, I don't know, like who would just walk out the house with like a shirt with like a WWE logo on it? I mean, if you got NWO or Punk or Bloodline or something, like sure. Even if it's like a WrestleMania or Royal Rumble, but like, nah, just walk out the house, WWE logo. Is that the fit for today? Is that what we're rocking? I don't think so.
You got a lot of brand loyalty there, buddy.
Well, anyways, let's go ahead and get to some positive things. It is WrestleMania season. We'll kind of quickly recap this. Obviously, there was a lot to talk about with the Punk stuff. But speaking of one, Mr. Phil Brooks, he was on Raw, not this week, but the week before last, in a all-time promo segment. Absolutely his best since he's been back. With Drew McIntyre and Seth Rollins. Now, this was great because you could tell they weren't working off a script. There might have been some talking points, but there was so many just great like one-lines. You mentioned it earlier. Drew was like, "I've been the chosen one," and Punk was like, "Oh, what patron of good virtue dubbed you the chosen one, Mr. Drew McIntyre?"
Bro, no, but the best part was like the arena full of people just like nervous laugh after he says that. I've never heard something like that. And then they had the great camera shot of Drew just smirking. Like that was a perfect shot right there.
Yeah, like I showed Hannah that the promo after, and she was dying because you can see Drew like he was cracked up, but he didn't know what to say. And that's
what do you say?
I don't know. I still don't know what to say. But that right there is exactly what Punk's run needs to be. That's what Triple H's new regime needs to be. That felt from the hip. You know what I mean? That wasn't like, here, go out here and read off this paper, word for word, practice your lines, and suffer and succotash. That's not the WWE we're in anymore.
Yeah, and it wasn't about online stuff that we would read about on the dirt sheets either. This was a problem that CM Punk and Drew McIntyre are having on screen. So that's why it makes it so much better. You don't have to be reading up on all Meltzer's Observer newsletters or following Sean Ross Sapp on X. You can watch the television show and you would understand that Drew McIntyre and CM Punk have a problem with each other, and they are arguing like 2 grown men argue, not about their friendships being over, and they want to know what happened to their friends. You know what I'm talking about, Micah?
Absolutely. I mean, that's the biggest thing right now to me is it's not stupid storylines about guys wanting to be friends or like, you took my girlfriend. I mean, obviously there's going to be some semblance of that in wrestling, but the Cody Rhodes Rock Roman thing, this Drew McIntyre Seth thing, I want to be the marquee guy. I want to make the most money. I want to be champion. Those are constant angles in wrestling that you can run. They've been run for 100 years now. Why have we shied away from that? Like you said, I mean, it's like it's 2 grown men arguing about who wants more money, who wants to be the top guy. Everybody can relate to that. Who in life doesn't want more money? Who in life doesn't want more recognition for what they do?
Yeah. This did feel like a AEW CM Punk type promo too. Even
Yeah.
when Seth Rollins music hit, I don't know if you remember, Micah, but Punk just like fell to his knees and just like started hitting his head with the microphone. It just felt like, you know, how you would react if somebody entered the arena that and you didn't like him. I don't know, man. It felt more organic. It felt more real. And even before that, when Drew McIntyre came out and CM Punk told them to cut off his music,
Yeah.
like, why would you want to hear his music play? You hate this guy.
Mm-hmm. And he was like daring him to come in the ring, and Drew was like, "No, I'm not going to get in the ring with you." You know what I mean? That's real.
It felt like an actual argument.
Yeah, and
more of this, please.
Absolutely. I'm really excited to see Punk because he genuinely seems reinvigorated, and I have to go ahead and say I think Drew is top 5 in the business right now on the mic.
In the business.
In the business. Give me 5 others.
No, I cannot, but I just commend you because you were all out on Drew. When we were driving back from Rumble, we had to make up scenarios to get you on board with Drew, and you weren't having any of those.
I mean, well, first off, the first thing he did after Rumble was I prayed for this and it happened, which was immediately hilarious. He's got heat. It's hilarious. He's kind of, if you do play into kind of the internet side of things, he's been doing great stuff on Twitter, making fun of Punk, playing Cry Me a River by Justin Timberlake while he's working out. Which, I mean, again, that's insider ball, but at the same time, he was like, I'm about to go lift more weight than Punk ever has. Put 345 plates on there. I was just like, ugh! I mean, just smashed them. So, as Punk said in that interview with Ariel Helwani, CM Punk, the character, is a guy who dips his toe over the line in ways that it makes sense on TV, but if you really are in the know, you're like, oh, well, wait a minute, he might have meant this. But it's never something that is, well, you said that's not what Meltzer said. Oh, you know what? That's not what Punk does. But he'll make a reference to Vince McMahon. And that's kind of what Drew has been doing, too. That's what I think gives it that unhinged feeling, is like there are nods, but it still makes sense on the TV product.
Absolutely. More of Drew and Punk back and forth and less of Seth Rollins cackling. And bro, I don't mind Seth when he's serious, but
he's actually good.
He's good, but you know, it's a lot of newer fans that put him in the same category as Shawn Michaels, and I just can't get behind that.
Oh my God, no. Even my wife, and that's my like barometer for what the casual fan thinks. She was like, why can't Seth be like this all the time?
Bro, it makes no, he gets into that whole cackling and Joker gimmick that he does, and I don't know, man. It just doesn't work for me. Maybe the TV audience at home likes it, but I cannot stand when he does all that goofy stuff. Why is he a visionary again, Micah? Have we established this?
Know.
What is he envisioned? How is he?
I like the architect.
What is he built? Now see his portfolio. What projects has he resurrected, Micah? I don't understand. How is he all these things?
Well, he built Monday Night Rollins, and he built the greatest cash in of all time.
That was okay. Heist of the century.
Yep. And
then proceeded to have one of the weakest reigns that I've ever seen as a top guy.
Okay, well, I was checked out by this point, so you'll have to
keep me in
on that.
Just know that he got destroyed by Kane and had to get helped like at a 52-year-old Kane at that point. So he was treated like Jay White, basically.
So, okay, what was the infatuation with Kane being the first feud you got around this time period? Because that was the same thing that happened to Daniel Bryan right after WrestleMania 30. And that was kind of what was happening to Punk before he left.
Oh, Jesus. They loved him. They loved Kane and Big Show at that point. I don't know.
Yeah, they did.
They loved him. Remember, Roman feuded with Big Show around that time, too.
You're right. You're like unlocking some memories that I like kind of blocked off and forgot because WWE was just not it for me at that point.
I was watching, but it blew. It was not good.
But hey, we're so back now, baby. WrestleMania week. The product as a whole was great.
And that whole promo exchange was great too. Do you got anything else to add here, Micah?
Nah, I did think Drew, when he sat down cross-legged on the table, was like, he said, "Don't you shoot up my don't shoot up my kilt, you perv." That popped me. But
yeah, that was good too.
Continuing on, what happened with this Raw, we'll kind of morph into what I want to talk about next, which is the Bloodline Final Boss versus Cody and the Avengers of Raw. The final segment that night that the Punk promo happened was the just vicious beatdown that The Rock did on Cody. That felt like 90s WCW. It felt like Attitude Era Raw. It was amazing. We got blood. You know, I'm a big fan of that in certain angles. I don't want it every week, but if it's a blood feud, give me blood. The rain, it being outside. The Rock has done a master class on getting. This might be the best Legend return run that has ever happened.
Well, it's hard to argue. Nothing's jumping out when you said that.
I'm not talking about like a Sting. That was more extended, but I'm talking about like a Cena that came back to face Roman.
Oh, this is miles better than whatever Sting did on Wednesday and Saturday. Come on, man.
Well, I don't know. I mean, I like what Sting did, but
what jump off high things? Is that what you like? That's all he did. And wear t-shirt. You get on Kevin Owens about wearing t-shirts, but Sting can.
Okay, Sting's old, and he's a legend, and he's an icon, and I like the final match. Anyways.
Well, Kevin Owens is big boned.
The Final Boss has been the best thing that The Rock has done since Hollywood Rock. They brought back the theme song. The entrance, he legitimately feels like Thor spawning in.
Yeah.
And this segment was just great. Like, I am legitimately... I'm doing the Rock point right now. I got chills. Thinking about Saturday because it's going to be insane. I know the entrances are going to take 25 minutes, but I don't care.
Oh yeah, you know it's going to take a while. I'm excited to see what his entrance is going to be because I'm sure it's going to be a special entrance.
Yeah, gotta be.
Yeah, but yeah, the whole Rock Cody segment from 2 weeks ago where he was in the rain. That was, I mean, what can you say, man? When did they allow blood again, Mike? What happened?
I think Triple H is probably an advocate for it, them being partners with TKO. Obviously, it's in the UFC. So I think them being more of a family-friendly approach is probably lessening, which I'm sure there's still, like, obviously some semblance of that. But I think it's like, if there's blood in certain instances, we're not going to shy away from that. And The Rock being in it obviously helps. He's on the board, so he can probably call his own shots. I mean, I think, plus, they're at the end of this deal with the USA Network. Yeah. And them going to Netflix, I truly believe, and it was kind of mentioned in the Punk thing as well, I'm pretty sure they're going to be TV 14 again.
Did you think Rock was going to throw Cody over the ledge?
A little bit, until I saw that they're like...
I wanted it to happen.
I thought it was a bridge at first, and there was obviously it was a bridge. I'm sorry, let me rephrase that. I thought it was like a river or something. You know, they've done those angles
Oh
in the
my
past.
God. Can you imagine?
I would have been down.
Throw him in the river.
Just chuck him like the Intercontinental Championship.
Oh man. Did you notice in the background of the trailer that they had Cena and Steve Austin on the trailer? Is that like a little subtle thing or it's just coincidence? What do you think?
I think there's some foreshadowing there.
Have you seen Steve? Steve Austin is looking jacked. What is he working out for?
He could come in and hit a stunner. Did you see that somebody sent him an Easter basket the other day and it had beer in it?
No, I didn't. What happened?
He was somewhere, I don't even remember where, but he like recorded it. He was like, so I'm over here doing whatever. And he was like, and I come back to my truck and somebody's got a Easter basket. He was like, but there's no chocolate or anything or eggs. He said, it's just got Stone Cold's beer in it. And obviously, it might have just been a promotional thing, but like, you think Cody sent it? I mean, I'm fantasy booking a little bit.
Well, I mean, what do you give Steve Austin for Easter? Micah, you got to give him a couple Steve Weisers.
Well, if you want to get to the guy's heart, you want to get Stone Cold on your side. What's he known for?
There you go. There you have it.
Stone Cold IPA.
Is that the name of his beer brand?
I think he does have one that's an IPA. I don't know because I don't drink, but
I think Rock has a tequila brand. Austin has a beer brand.
Yeah, Rock's is Terramana. I know that.
Oh, okay. I hear it's okay. Not a big tequila guy, but I hear it's all right.
Well, I never tried it, but you know, he's got the mana. You can feel the mana in the arena.
I'm just sitting back and enjoying the ride that The Rock is taking us on because he did say that. Pause.
Oh yeah,
he did say that. He did say that multiple times, and I think he said that in the a few times on television, along with his very long X and Twitter videos that he releases. Or are they IG?
You know,
they're on IG.
In on them.
No, they're great. I love them. I wish he would bring them to TV if he could, but
there's so many great clips that come out of those two. But like you said, I mean, the ride that The Rock has taken us on, I know we're kind of, playing. Blazing. But I mean, I seriously have enjoyed this Rock run more than I've enjoyed a lot of things about wrestling in the past couple years.
I want apologies from all these crybabies that said that Rock was washed, that he couldn't cut a promo like he used to, and now he's the best thing in wrestling. He's literally the best heel we have in wrestling. He's the best act that we have in wrestling currently. It's because Rock is a generational talent. That's what generational talents do. Have people forgotten this, Micah? Do people have memories of Goldfish? Did people just started watching the product 2 years ago?
People think that because Rock would always come out and do the same shtick that he couldn't. Like, you don't. The thing about wrestling is you can be a good wrestler and eventually lose that. If you're a good promo, you're always a good promo. I mean, unless you get to like Flair age, or if you try to like divert from what made you a good promo, like Jericho tries to be hip. Oh, God. That don't work.
No, not at all. Not at all.
Daggum, something got a hold of me.
Jeez.
But The Rock has, it's so evident, he's been reinvigorated by this heel run that he got out of his typical shtick of calling people Rudy Poo, whatever, as a baby face, where the final boss is a new character that he could really sink his teeth into. And so, sure, he repeats himself a lot. Sure, when he says boy, it kind of sounds a little racist.
Oh my God.
It's still great work.
He says a lot. Yeah, and he does curse. He does say cuss words, but he's The Rock. He gets to say that. And if you, like CM Punk said, if you go out there and you're Ricochet and you say F-bombs in your promo, you better make sure it's just as good as when The Rock did it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And while obviously I don't curse myself, I do have to admit it does add an edge to a guy whenever he kind of has that, again, that unhinged, like, I'm going to take you out to the parking lot and I'm going to beat the piss out of you and I'm going to leave you in a puddle of your own blood and I'm going to cuss you like a dog.
And what happened with Jay Uso in that segment? Did he just die off screen? What happened? He won the match.
He got stuck backstage.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, he couldn't find where they were.
Well, it was probably a big deal.
Lastly for this kind of whole storyline, which I thought the end of Raw was very good. We'll see what happens with SmackDown tomorrow night. I think it's must watch just because it's the last show before Mania. But
man,
let me
I hope there's a big
ask
brawl.
you. Oh, say that again.
I said I hope there's a big brawl. I didn't mean to cut you off. My bad.
No, you're good. I started cutting you off. Sometimes the audio is a little delayed, but it's no big deal. I have to ask, does Roman feel a little bit less in this storyline?
It feels intentional though, like they know what they're doing. Maybe they're trying to make Roman feel like second fiddle, and then when Roman loses the title, if Roman loses the title, then Rock can say that you weren't carrying your weight. You weren't here when it mattered. Because it kind of feels like Rock is already the leader of the bloodline. That angle that we just talked about, he was calling the shots. There was no Roman around. Jimmy, Solo were taking orders from Rock.
That is a good point. And I mean, The Rock basically ordered Seth and Solo to have that match.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I forgot about that. Yeah. That happened. It feels like they're setting up Rock to be the new tribal chief, head of the bloodline, and Roman is looking like he's going to get a beatdown on Monday, the Raw at the WrestleMania, or soon after that, he's going to go on a little vacation.
I hate that.
Yeah, I wouldn't hate that either. Maybe we get a new member of the bloodline. Maybe a Jacob Fatu, maybe? We'll see.
I wouldn't hate it.
We'll see. How much does Cody like getting whipped, man? How many angles has he had where he gets beat down?
Man, he's all about getting under the blade. I give him props for it. He'll take a beat down, and he'll make it believable.
Bro loves to get beat with a belt, man. Does Cody have any kinks we're not aware of, Mike?
Ask Brandy.
Oh, man.
I need Brandy and The Rock in the ring. Let's get some real content.
That's must-watch TV.
Oh, my God. Oh, I can only imagine. He did say that she's going to be there.
Yeah.
It would. Now, just imagine, she was a former wrestler. Okay. Imagine if she hits the ring and The Rock bottoms her.
Oh, my God. No, give her a Superman punch. Let's not go overboard, Micah. A rock bottom.
Come on. She can take a rock bottom.
Okay. No, a spear.
Oh, Jesus.
Stephanie McMahon took a spear a couple years ago from Roman. I think Brandy can, too.
Yeah, she's a little younger than Steph.
Yeah, or a super kick.
Yeah. Well, then you got to involve those.
We're just advocating for Brandy getting beat up.
I'm just saying, if she got in The Rock's face and started like cussing him out, and he just kind of like rock bottomed her or something, it would be kind of funny. But
and then Gold Dust comes out.
Oh man, it legitimately might be the most overbooked WrestleMania main event of all time.
I'm here for it. Why not, man? This is the end game. This is it right here. The final chapter.
I could see it. But go ahead.
No, I was just gonna say this is it.
All in all, I have truly enjoyed the build-up of this. I don't think they could have done anything different other than maybe Roman being on TV a little bit more. But a lot of people were kind of clamoring for like something to happen, and then they had that giant beatdown angle, and that was exactly what was needed to really give this the edge, because it was The Rock cussing Cody out on Twitter, and then
Yeah.
Cody came out crying. It's like, hey,
That's what his fan base loves.
they love a guy who wears his heart on his sleeve, I guess.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. The Cody crybabies are out in full effect, man. But we are not Cody crybabies here at Scoop
No.
Slam Podcast.
We acknowledge the final boss.
We acknowledge our tribal chief as well, but the final boss is the high chief. So I guess he overranks Roman in that instance.
He's our high chief, at least.
Oh yeah.
Well, I suppose it is that time, Ryan. I don't have anything more to say other than I will be sad after this WrestleMania is over, just because this run has been great and I'm very excited. But I was kind of talking the other day, like the wrestling business booms in like 3 to 5 year spans. Like 97 was really hot for WCW. And then by 2001, the business kind of went down. I would say,
Yeah.
97 might have been 2021 for AEW. And 2022 is really when things started to turn around for WWE. So hypothetically, we've got another 2 to 3, maybe even 4 years of a boom. So let's enjoy the ride while we're on it. Like you said earlier, like The Rock has said, let's enjoy the ride that The Rock has taken you on, and we have. But
yeah,
WrestleMania 40 is Saturday and Sunday. So let's get our predictions out of the way. And this will wrap up this episode. Night 1, I don't know the order exactly. This is the way they are on Wikipedia, so this is just kind of how we'll go with it.
Whoa. It did get released. The match order, it got leaked. Do you want me to tell you the match order? Or you want to stay surprised?
Yeah, let me stay surprised.
Oh, okay.
I'll just run it down off of Wikipedia. For WrestleMania Night 1, Rhea Ripley versus Becky Lynch for the Women's World Championship.
This angle hasn't been. It's been okay. They've kind of picked up some steam in the last couple weeks. I've gotten a little more interested with the Becky Rhea real life situation. But I'm going with Becky here. I think Becky gets the title win.
Really?
I mean, bro, what do you do with Rhea after this? She hasn't even feuded with anybody the whole year. What is she gonna do after this? She has nobody to feud with.
I mean, you gotta. I think if she goes to SmackDown, they've introduced some new women like Tiffany and Jade, and if they kind of mix up the rosters, it could work. Especially as the Judgment Day probably will begin to crumble this year.
But she's had the title for a whole year, though, at this point, Micah. How long is she going to hold the title for?
Let her hold it till next year's WrestleMania and have her and Bianca go at it.
But see, weren't people getting angry at Bianca for holding the title so long?
I mean, yeah, but I don't know.
People were starting to sour on Bianca towards the end of her reign.
That is true, and I mean, people have kind of started to sour on Rhea. I don't really like Becky, to be honest with you.
Dang. What's wrong with Becky?
She just doesn't feel real to me. She's not bad in the ring, and I'm sure they'll put on a great match. Don't get me wrong. But the angle itself,
She has a great book out. She's probably going to be a New York Times bestseller, Micah. You not care about that, Micah.
Well, I mean, I'll read it, I guess, but I'm just talking about her promo work's not good. She just feels fake. Like, I genuinely don't understand how the man run happened.
Right place, right time. A lot of... Well, I think we talked about it before, but I just think that's weird that Becky and Ronda Rousey are on a book tour at the same time. I think that's a little weird.
Yeah, especially because one is like, I've had such a great time at WWE, and the other is like, I hated this place. It was disgusting.
Hated everything about it. Jesus, why did she come back the second time? But we're getting off topic, Mike. We're getting off topic. You got Rhea in this match, huh?
Yeah, I think Rhea's going to take it home as we see Judgment Day crumble, and next year probably build up to Bianca versus Rhea for the first time.
Okay.
Following that, we got for the Intercontinental Championship, Gunther versus Sami Zayn.
This is where I think somebody actually retains. I think Gunther retains his title against Sami here.
Yeah, I just don't think there's enough build for Sami to get it. Now, if it happened, I don't think I would be just absolutely shocked, but I think anybody but Chad Gable right now kind of seems like a no, unless it was a Braun Breaker, but he's on SmackDown.
I wouldn't hate Jey Uso getting that title.
Yeah, that's not bad either.
Yeah, I wouldn't hate Jey taking it off him. And like, what's that European show? That PLE European show is in Germany.
Yeah,
I think it is in Germany.
I doubt he will lose it there.
Well, he's not German, Micah.
Well, his character's like kind of German.
Oh, come on, man. Oh, his character's
He'll
German.
still get he'll be a baby face over there.
Over Jey Uso, man. Jey Uso is for the people. Jey Uso is nationwide. Jey Uso is worldwide. You know you'd be doing a little dance in your living room.
Hey,
I ain't like you don't. I ain't like you don't. You hate on it, but I ain't like you don't do it.
It just looks stupid if it's just one person doing it. But if everybody doing it, see, all you gotta have is two arms. Most people around the world got two arms.
You've said it before, but I never. When Pat McAfee was doing it on the desk, that's when it really hit me. Like, dang, that does look stupid. It's just one person doing it.
If you do it as like a solo, you look like an idiot. But if the group does, if everybody in the crowd does, it looks sick. They added it to the wrestling, like WWE 2K. They put it in there, and it looks great.
Oh, that's pretty cool.
But after that, we got the 6-pack tag team ladder match.
Did you make a pick?
Oh yeah, I said Gunther.
Oh, okay, Gunther. We'll go with Gunther.
For the undisputed WWE Tag Team Championship in a 6-pack tag team ladder match. Sorry, that was easy for me to say.
Yeah.
The Judgment Day versus DIY versus the Awesome Truth versus the New Day versus A-Town Down Under versus the New Catch Republic.
I'm not a fan of this match at all.
Yeah.
I hate this match. This feels like this is going to be way too much, way too many people involved. And the concept is stupid. Did you hear what they described this match as? The concept of it?
You talking about if you pull down a separate set, you win?
Yeah, that's so TNA, isn't it? That's so TNA. That is stupid. I wish that they would just unify the titles and just have one set of tag titles. I don't want two sets of tag titles because we don't have tag teams, Micah. We don't have teams.
Yeah, point. I don't
want to see random tag teams coming together to win the tag titles like they used to do because there were so many tag titles.
I will say this, and this is completely void of anything kind of to do with this. I made a universe the other day on 2K, and I was gonna have separate tag titles, but like, and I put in not just WWE, I put in AEW teams too. Like, I basically got everybody in the wrestling world that I like and would like to have in a promotion and put them all in one promotion. And I was like, I don't think I can have a separate tag division. Like, there's just not enough good tag teams.
No, it's not, bro. It's like they got a new tag team just popped up on SmackDown. Is what's the guy from Swerve's old group? What was the name?
Shante the Adonis.
Yeah, Shante the Adonis, and I think it was Cedric Alexander are a tag team now. Why are they a tag team?
Well, do you want me to really say why, or?
Well, okay. Well, I'm just saying it's random. You remember you had tag teams like Rene Dupree and well, dang, I'm blanking on the Japanese cat's name. I almost called him North. No, not Tajiri, the other guy. I on SmackDown. Kenzo Suzuki. That's who I meant. I almost called him.
That guy.
I almost called him Minoru Suzuki, but that's the other guy. Yeah, they had tag teams like that pop up on SmackDown or on Raw. It'd be Tajiri and William Regal. Come on, man. What are we doing?
Whoa, don't hate on that.
It was comedic, but still, though, Mike, they had no business being together.
Well, I say all that to say this. I do like that they're going to separate them. And I do like that. Well, I don't necessarily like they're going to separate them, but I do like the concept. You said it was very TNA, but I do kind of like it. I think that the Awesome Truth is going to get the Raw set, and I think the New Catch Republic is going to get the SmackDown set.
Is there any? Are we sure that it just won't be one team to get both of them?
I don't think so because they've specifically hinted at that.
Maybe to throw us off? Huh?
I mean, they could. I'm not going to say no, but I think that's what's going to happen. But what do you think? You think just one team?
I'm thinking DIY because Triple H, those were his boys back in NXT. That was. I know you hate them. I like the idea of them. I like the NXT black and gold, man. I like them. So of course I get nostalgic about that. But Triple H, that was his aces right there. Johnny Gargano and Tommaso Ciampa. So I can see them winning one set. And oh boy. You know what? I'm just going to, you know what? They bring down both titles. Why not?
All right. Well, I mean, I would hate it, but
are we having too many feel-good moments? Can't have too many feel-good moments.
Yeah, you called that last year. But following that is Jay Uso versus Jimmy Uso.
Oh, boy. Wow. You want to go first?
I think Jay, and then Jimmy is probably going to turn.
I think. You remember what happened to WrestleMania 25 with Jeff Hardy and Matt Hardy? Matt Hardy finally beat Jeff Hardy when Jeff was way more over than Matt.
I thought he made him say I quit, and then he jumped off the ladder anyways.
That was the next month at Extreme Rules, I believe, or maybe it was Backlash.
You're right.
But yeah, I can see Jimmy winning. In fact, I think Jimmy will win. And that it adds more heat to the main event match because I don't think Jimmy is going to win clean. I think we're going to get some kind of interference and Jay gets some sort of revenge coming up down the line.
Interesting. I can see that. So much plays into the main event, but we'll get there.
You have too many good finishes, man. You can't have too many baby faces go over, man.
Yeah. Following that, the six. Oh, what'd you say?
Oh, I was just saying, you know how this goes. My bad.
Yeah.
I didn't cut you off.
No, you're good. Following that 6-woman tag team match, Bianca Belair, Jade Cargill, and Naomi versus Damage Control, Dakota Kai, Asuka, and Kairi Sane. I was kind of right in predicting this. They just made it a 6-woman match. I just thought it was going to be Bianca and Jade versus Asuka and Kairi for the tag titles.
I thought the same thing too, but it's a lot of gang warfare going on in WWE right now. You got the LWO feuding with I don't even know who are they. Oh, Legado del Fantasma. I forgot their name. I watched SmackDown too, and I forgot their name. And then you got Damage Control against, what do you call this group here, Micah? I don't want to get you in trouble. What do you call this group?
You gotta throw me under the bus like that. I don't even know.
Women's Hurt Business? I don't know.
Oh, come on.
I'm just saying, man. Why they all got to be together?
Well, somebody put it on Twitter the other day that they were like, "This is such a scapegoat way to make teams." It's like all the Hispanic people go together, all the European people go together, all the black people go together. It's like, Triple H, is this really what we want to do?
And then you got, when you said all the Spanish people, Hispanic people go together, you got Joaquin Wild in that mix when he's Filipino.
Yeah. So, I don't know. I mean, I don't know. I don't even know what to say.
The point is, bet your life that Jade Cargill's taking this win. And she's not losing her debut match.
Yeah. Plus Bianca's undefeated, so they're keeping that too.
You know, Asuka's never won a match at WrestleMania. She's defeated at WrestleMania.
Defeated at WrestleMania. Yeah. Well,
First
she's gonna have to stay that way. Dude, there's like 4. Okay, so they have the 6-man tag team match. They have that match. Then following this, there's another tag team match. Rey Mysterio and Dragon Lee, LWO versus Santos and Dirty Dom.
This is weird right here. This is where I think the Brock Lesnar absence from WrestleMania is taking shape. That and the Gunther match with Sammy. Because I feel like this wasn't Dom's original plan.
Yeah, that's a good point. It does feel very hot-shotted.
Yeah, Dom had nothing to do with Legado del Fantasma, but somehow shows up on Friday night to help him.
Because he's Hispanic.
Okay, all right. But why not Carlito in Dragon Lee's spot? I would much rather see Carlito.
The IWC has turned on Carlito and said that he's bad.
How? What has he done? He hasn't done anything. Has he
said something? Everybody online says he's a horrible wrestler.
What? Bro has like 4-minute matches. What do they want him to do in 4 minutes?
Well, flips. That always helps.
Hey, speaking of 4-minute matches, have you seen that new WWE Speed show?
I watched the Ricochet match. If it was 5 to 7, sure. 3 minutes? That's a little quick.
I understand what they're doing here. They're just going for the younger audience that has terrible attention spans. Because Gen Z and Gen Alpha, Micah, we have terrible attention spans. So 3 minutes is probably best for those type of fans, those newer fans.
But doesn't it kind of make you feel more doesn't it kind of break your sense of realism when they have like a 20-minute match?
Well, it's not for us. It's for the internet audience. We're not doing it on national television.
I guess that's true. It got over 1 million plays though, and that was this morning. And it debuted this morning, so this was only a couple hours after it was up.
I mean, it was a breeze to get through. I sat down and watched it. I watched the whole match.
Yeah. Well, anyways, Rey Mysterio and Dragon Lee versus Santos and Dirty Dom. Who you got?
I'm going to finally pick a babyface here. I'm going to go Rey and Dragon Lee.
Yeah, I think I'm feeling that.
Yeah, that's a
bathroom break match.
Yeah, it sucks because Dom and Rey had such a great match last year. Such a great build, too.
Personally, top 2 of my favorite matches from last year's WrestleMania.
Bro, this should have just been 1-on-1 with Santos and Rey.
Yeah. That too, it kind of muddies their whole finish or blow off to this feud. I don't know. We'll see. But the main event of night 1, the biggest tag team match main event probably since Mr. T was involved in WrestleMania. The Bloodline, The Rock and Roman Reigns versus Cody Rhodes and Seth freaking Rollins. Obviously, as anybody listening, anybody under the sound of my voice knows, if Rhodes and Rollins win, all members of the Bloodline will be banned from ringside. But if Rock and Reigns win, the championship match on night 2 will be held under Bloodline rules.
I'm excited the most about this match right here.
Excited to boast? What you mean?
No. I'm excited the most.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
This match right here. Yeah, this right here. This is gonna be my match of the weekend. I'm most looking forward to this. I'm most looking forward to what Rock is gonna be like in there because I did see him sell on Monday night, and I don't know, Micah. He looked like Rock in there when he was selling.
They've been training he said he's been training since February, so we'll see. And he looks a little thinner than when he first came back.
Yeah. He looked good in there.
I just you want me to go first or you want to go first?
You go ahead. You go ahead.
They're going to give me the whole seat. I'm only going to use the edge. But I think when it's all said and done, this will probably be the match of the weekend. And ultimately, I think The Rock and Roman Reigns are going to win because it just adds way more to that main event.
It kind of has to be Rock and Roman winning. It really has. It has to be. That's where the money is. With the no rules, no restrictions, overbooked finish. That's where all the money is on night 2. We don't. This is supposed to be the series finale of the Bloodline right here. This is it. This is where all culminates right here in that match on night 2. So you got to go balls to the wall. You can't just have a standard wrestling match. It might suffer if they do just do a standard wrestling match. It might suffer the same fate that Randy and Triple H had at WrestleMania 25. You remember how they had such a blood feud, and they went in there, and the rules were if Triple H got disqualified, that Randy would win the title, and it just stunk because they needed a street fight match.
Yeah. You're probably right.
Yeah.
I didn't think about it like that. If they do it, it's just kind of a basic one-on-one match. Like, they kind of did that last year, so it would feel kind of eh. But if they have an overbooked mess, it probably makes it, a better culmination. You think Cody gets blood both nights? He's got to get it night 1, though, right? Because Rock said he was going to make him bleed.
Oh, yeah, you forgot. Yeah, I forgot about that. No. I think it'd be night 2 because he didn't say which night he was going to make him bleed. And if it's Bloodline rules and there's no rules, that means Rock can get involved. That means Rock can whip Cody, which we know Cody loves to be whipped. And he can take the weight belt. Rock can take the weight belt to Cody's mother. And maybe Cody Rhodes' mother slaps Rock. And then that's a big spot for night 2. Am I on to something, Micah? Are you ready to give me the book?
You're cooking.
Yeah, that's what I'm. Come on, man. I think Rock, Roman win night 1. They win this main event.
Think so too, because it also gives you that dang it, man, the odds are stacked against the good guy going into night 2, and then it'll kind of cap it off. You said it best. Last year, you were like, man, so many good guys are winning. I kind of don't think Cody's going to win. And then he didn't. And I was like, oh, God. So, honestly, I think, you're probably right. I think, like you said, it has to. But night 2, and then we will get out of here because I'm very excited to watch this now. And I just realized it's Thursday. So, I have to wait a whole nother day before we can watch this. Night 2 for the World Heavyweight Championship. We got Seth freaking Rollins versus Drew McIntyre. Seth, no pop, Rollins.
Exactly. No pop. I'm going Drew here. Drew wins. Am I doing too much overbooking by saying the Bloodline helps Drew win the title? Am I overbooking this, Micah? Is it going to be too much interference at that point?
I don't think so. Well, I don't know. But if they do go that route, Drew wins due to bloodline interference. It plays a lot into the story. And Seth eventually turns heel. Cody, Seth at SummerSlam because Seth's like,
I don't want to say that.
Okay, well, hold on. Let me cook for a minute.
Go ahead.
Seth turns heel because he was doing this fight trying to help Cody. He got weakened on night 1 doing the tag match. Then the next night, the Bloodline comes out and messes up his title. So then later that night, he tries to come out and help Cody, and he's hurt and he
Seth?
can't really do. Yeah, Seth.
Okay.
And Seth tries to come out and help, but he's hurt from earlier. And then Cody's like, "Hey, man, I could have used your help." You know what I'm saying? Like, it could create some dissension there. Seth turns heel because he's lost everything that's important to him, trying to fight the good fight, but the good fight's not benefiting him. I think it could work.
I would rather Seth take time off. I don't want to see that. But I mean, what you were cooking, it's something for SummerSlam. I think Drew wins here. I think Drew beats Seth Rollins. You have to reward him for all the good work, and hopefully Drew McIntyre has signed that new contract so he can be around a lot longer, and we can finally have a Drew McIntyre CM Punk match at SummerSlam whenever CM Punk is ready to go.
Yeah, I think the timeline lends itself to SummerSlam, and it will feed families when that feud gets actually underway. And also, we might not even have to have any bloodline interference, because I wouldn't be surprised if CM Punk gets involved in some form or fashion, and him on commentary will be great. But I digress. The next match, WWE Women's Championship, Io Sky versus Bayley. I mean, this has got to be Bayley, right?
Yeah, okay, yeah, Bayley, I'll go Bayley. Finally get her moment.
Yeah, I don't see a world where Io can still be champion, because she's almost had it for a year.
And Bayley has never had they love to do WrestleMania moments. Bayley's never had a quote unquote WrestleMania moment. So I can see her getting the title and fireworks go off, and maybe we get a cameo from the Bayley superfan that was just a kid when Bayley was in NXT. Maybe we get a little cameo with her.
She's a wrestler now, I think. Izzy, is that her name?
Yeah. She's like 16 or 17. I think she wrestles on the independent circuit in California, wherever she's from. I don't know where she's from.
Yeah. Well, I think I'm not as interested in seeing that match, but I think it will be good. However, yeah, that's what I think. I think it's one that a lot of people are going to be like, and then it'll be like Rhea and Charlotte last year. I remember when it got to that match, I was like, I wanted to see it, but I was like so gassed from everything else. And then I think, it could be one of those. Following that is LA Knight versus AJ Styles.
I'll go LA Knight. I think he needs to win more than AJ at this point.
Yeah, it's hard to pick, but which we're going to get to some more points. But like your baby faces going over will be Bayley, LA Knight, and then probably Cody Rhodes. And I don't think that's too much, especially when the night before you had a heel going over last. So,
you don't think the Street Profits was finally gonna win?
Nah. If hold on, we'll get there. We got one more.
Oh, okay.
Before that, Logan Paul versus Randy Orton versus Kevin Owens for the United States Championship.
I hate that they made this a triple threat match, but I'm going with Logan.
Yeah, it's got to be. They're going to Cleveland for SummerSlam. And somebody else, Stash Bros Wrestling on TikTok, one of the guests they had on there, because it wasn't the original two, I don't know his name, brought up a really good point. This Jake Paul Mike Tyson fight is on Netflix, who WWE is going to next year. So why would they take it off Logan? Because he's gonna be there, and then it'll be like, and he's with his brother, WWE United States Champion Logan Paul. Remember, WWE is coming to Netflix next year. I just think, there's no way Logan's not winning.
Brought to you by Prime Energy Drink. What happened to that logo that was in the middle of the ring? They stopped doing that already?
Oh, I didn't even think about that. Or didn't they? Did they say it was just going to be on pay-per-view?
They said going forward. Does that just mean going forward at PLEs, or what are we doing?
People get really touchy about that too, like logos in the ring. It doesn't bother me.
The mat is sacred, as Gunther says, Micah.
I actually like it. Like, if it's the pay-per-view logo or if it's like the WWE logo, I don't hate it. Even if it's sponsorships, like when WCW used to have the Slim Jim sponsor in the ring, it don't bother me.
You know, it makes them different and unique because I think AEW does have the logos everywhere now, and WWE just has the plain Jane campus. So canvas. Why do I call it campus? But it doesn't bother me to that extent. Like I'm not torn between the two. I'm indifferent. If they have it, it's money. If they don't, I don't care. We didn't have a sponsor for 60 years on the mat. It doesn't bother me.
Yeah. Well, not the main event yet.
No.
Probably the most thrown together match we talked about earlier. The Pride, which I didn't know that was their name. Bobby Lashley, Angelo Dawkins, and Montez Ford with BFAB versus the Final Testament, Karrion Kross, ACAM, and Razor AOP. I kind of hinted on it earlier. I think the Final Testament has to win. If they don't win, they are already dead in the water, and they got made like a month ago.
I think that we get a new member of the Final Testament. I think that's what we get on WrestleMania Night 2 or Night 1. Whenever this match happens, I think we get a new member. In the Bray Wyatt documentary, Micah, they did tease something at the end with Uncle Howdy. Bray's was that Bray's alter ego, or I don't know what that was supposed to be, but it came out after the fact that Cross was supposed to be a part of this whole Bray Wyatt saga. So I can see a Bo Dallas sighting here. I can see it.
I don't know. I wouldn't hate it. I just don't think, I think Bo Dallas has more potential than Karrion Kross.
Oh, absolutely. Oh, I agree 100%. But maybe this will be Bo Dallas. Maybe this will end up being his group.
Yeah, I could see it. I don't know. We'll have to find out. But I think the Final Testament has to win, right?
Yeah. Final Testament wins.
That brings us to the main event, WrestleMania 40.
Wow.
Roman Reigns versus Cody Rhodes. And if what we predicted earlier, it would be Bloodline rules. This time last year, we both said, there's no way Cody loses, right? And he did.
He did.
So, Ryan, I ask you, Roman Reigns versus Cody Rhodes, WrestleMania 40. Who you got?
You got to be a fool to say that Cody will not win here. I think this is the season finale. This is the series finale. This is where the Bloodline officially. This is their last stand right here, Micah. However, my heart is telling me that you don't bet against the tribal chief, and you don't bet against the final boss. So you know what? I'm going with Roman here, man.
Really?
I think Roman wins. Roman beats Cody, and that is the outcome that I want.
That's the outcome you want.
I think I'm done with Cody. I think I'm done with him.
Wow.
I've soured on him. I see fans booing him when he gets that title after about 2 or 3 months. I just see it.
I don't know. I mean, it's hard to be a babyface champion. It's all about the chase.
He's going to chase a little longer because he ain't taking his title from the Bloodline.
When would he get it then?
Go to AEW. You ain't getting it here,
Get
buddy.
a challenge for that one.
You ain't getting it here, buddy. You better learn to speak 5-star bangers over there because you ain't getting it over here.
I think that it's got to be Cody. They've set it up too grand for it not to be, and they've already said that if he doesn't win, he'll never get another shot. I don't think there's any other outcome now. I said the same thing last year. So if I'm wrong, I'm wrong. But I would again be very shocked if he doesn't go over. I think that Rock will end up costing Roman. And because he'll feel like slighted, like you said, either he doesn't respect The Rock enough, or The Rock and Cody had this planned all along so that Roman. I don't know exactly what way it'll lend itself, but I do think that The Rock will cost Roman the belt so that next year we can finally get Rock versus Roman, and then Cody goes on to be champion. He also said at the WrestleMania World that if he wins, he will get a new belt design. So I'm very interested to see what that is as well.
Probably just put new nameplates and new logo on the title. I don't know. I don't think they're going to change it up that much, but Micah, like I said, I'm betting with my heart, not with my head. I do want Rock to. I kind of just want them to crown Rock on night 2. Can we add him to the match? Is that possible? Is it too
He
late?
ain't gonna be here. He'd
What if
have
he
a worse schedule than Brock.
I don't care. Whenever he shows up, it's great. What if he just beats up Damian Priest and takes the Money in the Bank contract and cashes in on Cody? Right,
it will
after
be kind
Cody
of
wins
funny.
the title. Hey man, I wouldn't hate it. I would actually love that.
It would be funny, but I think that would be one of those finishes like Stone Cold turning on or siding with Vince. Like, it would just be bad. And I'm kind of afraid that's what would happen if Roman wins too. So that's why I think it's got to be Cody. And now let me ask you this.
Okay.
What run-ins do you think we have in terms of if it's bloodline rules? We know it's going to be Rock. We know Solo and probably Jimmy. We know Jay, probably Seth. But you think we get Steve Austin? Do we get John Cena? Do we get Dustin Rhodes?
Maybe a Rikishi, Alpha, a Sika. We get all of them, man. Bring them all. Fly them out.
I mean, there's a line.
What's Manu doing? Can he be booked?
What's Haku doing?
Hey, now if Haku comes out, ain't no way.
Everybody clear the ring.
Ain't no way Cody winning then.
So
I can see Steve Austin. I can see Cena. And of course the usual suspects: Solo, Jay, Jimmy, Seth, maybe Sami Zayn, Kevin Owens. I can see the usual suspects, but the big surprise is I think we get Steve Austin, Rock, one more stare down. I think we get that. Oh
man, the chills. That would be crazy.
When the glass shatters, it's gonna be a nuclear, especially if Cody's getting beat down and it looks like there's no hope. And then we hear the glass shatter. Like, they're gonna be, oh man, the roof will have to be replaced at Lincoln Financial Field. Well, they got a roof there?
I don't think they have a roof.
Okay, well, if they had a roof, it would get blown off, man.
They did have a roof.
Okay.
Before Stone Cold came through.
Yeah, you're right. Yeah.
So, man, I don't know. I'm jealous of anybody that gets to be there. I'll say that much right now. Like, I see people at this WrestleMania World and all this crap. Like, I am straight up envious.
And you know what? Going back to who makes a run in, Micah, and then we'll probably move on, wrap up the show. Cena did have a run in with Solo That's who Solo Stallone spiked him 15
Uh.
times. Yeah, so they do have history.
That is true. I don't know. It's gonna be a very good show. I'm really hyped to see it. We did go a little long. We're close to 2
I know.
hours, but there's a lot to cover. It's WrestleMania season, and we missed. We will be back next week. We will obviously talk about WrestleMania, talk about Raw after WrestleMania. And then after that, we can probably start getting into some more AEW stuff. It's just right now, it's so heavy WWE. Like, there's so much content coming out, and that's a good thing because the content's good. Overall, though, very excited for this weekend. I think it's going to be great. Make sure, before we get out of here, follow us Instagram, Twitter /X, Facebook, all that good stuff. Make sure to check out Dead Threads. If you're a fan of any sports team, NFL, NHL, MLB, NCAA, anything like that, the NBA playoffs about to come out. Baseball just started. NHL playoffs are soon. It's good time. Go ahead and get your merch. Link in the bio. Link in the description of this episode. Also, make sure to come back next week. We're going to be reviewing WrestleMania. We're going to be reviewing Raw. Me and Ryan, as always, because the Scoop Slam podcast is back. Make sure, get your friends together, get yourself in front of a TV this weekend and watch WrestleMania. It is Christmas for all of us wrestling fans. And lastly, we hope you have a good weekend, and thank you for listening to the Scoop Slam podcast.